word to the world. Subscribe now to the Hot 97 YouTube channel. It's Ebro in the Morning with Laura Stiles and Rosenberg.
All right, greetings, man. You got Ebro, you got Laura. Rosenberg's on assignment, making his moves with WWE today. We got my brother Benny Boom with us. We're about to talk about a new film he's producing with Birdman. That's right, Cash Money. And Benny, who's this young brother you working with here? Solomon, put us on, man.
I just want to introduce everybody to Solomon Onita. He is the writer, director, producer of the film. This was his brainchild, and he, brought the script to me, right before we shot, and I just, fell in love with it, man. So everybody, this is Solomon Onita Jr.
Solomon, so young filmmaker. Is this your first film?
Yeah, my first feature. I've done some shorts because I've been in film school for some years, so I did shorts while in school, and then this is kind of like my first debut project.
Now,
Solomon.
I'm sorry, Laura. Go
Oh,
ahead.
I'm sorry. Give us a little bit of a breakdown of the film Tazmanian Devil.
Yeah, so Tazmanian Devil is a coming of age movie. It's about a kid who moves from Nigeria to America, and he gets in odds with his estranged father when he decides to join this fraternity. And pretty much the conflict comes from because the dad is super religious. He's a pastor, and he views fraternities as evil because he doesn't understand them. And so this kid, when he moves to America, he's looking for assimilation to like learn the culture, and he finds that through this fraternity. And so he pretty much has to make a decision to like do what his dad wants him to do or to do what he wants to do. So
now Solomon, what's your background? Where you from? Where your people from?
Nigeria. I'm first generation American.
Right. So this story is near and dear to your heart because I know a lot of young first generation, whether it's Ghanaian, Ethiopian, Somalian, I know some Kenyan brothers and sisters. I mean, it's a lot of African people whose parents either moved here or sent them here to go to school in America, have lived this experience that you're shaping in this Tazmanian Devil film.
Right. Me personally, it's not my direct story, but I've seen a lot of, immigrants come and how they try to ingrain themselves in the culture. So I thought to myself, like, what if somebody came for the first time and decided to join a fraternity? Like, how would that experience be for them? And that's how I came up with the idea.
Now, Benny, you've worked with other filmmakers before. Have you been taking on and working with and partnering with a lot of young filmmakers? Is that something that's very important to you at this stage of your career?
I think, it's very important. I think, what I've done, this is really the first time that I've been able to work with a film really from start to finish, from the script all the way through to be able to help get the financing, help in the marketing and all these things, the edit. I've been able to help music video directors over the past 20 years, help gain ground. But in terms of a feature film director, this is really like the first time. And I like it. You want to, for me, it's about a legacy of giving back and like, what are you doing? You create your career and then what are you giving back? I was an intern for Spike Lee, a number of years ago, and, Woody Allen and all these people. So like what I got from them, I want to just be able to give to the next filmmaker.
And Benny, how did the Cash Money partnership come into place?
So that's a good question. So, Birdman and I, we're really tight. We talk often. We talk about different projects over the last few years. I've done a ton of videos for his company over a long period of time.
Of course. And
we just have a really great relationship. And I think that he's at the point now where he's really trying to make that transition into film and TV. And we're talking about different things. And as we were talking, this film came up, and I explained it to him, and he really got him. He wanted to get involved.
Capturing youth, and understanding what Solomon wrote in this film, I think it's very important. For Black folks in general, right? Because I don't know, Solomon, in your experience, growing up in America and having Nigerian parents. How has it been building that bridge of Black culture and, African culture and understanding just the greater diaspora and how we can have a better understanding of one another? How has that been for you?
I would say early on in my life, I was a bit embarrassed to be Nigerian because it wasn't something that was acceptable by the African American community. Like I remember going to school and be ashamed to like tell people what my last name was, or to tell people where my family was from. But over the years, when I just gained confidence in who I am, I started to embrace where I was from. You know, I started to tell stories about Nigeria and wanting to put Nigeria in the forefront of my voice and within my career. So I would say culturally, the gap is starting to bridge now because people are seeking to know where they're from beyond just the history of slavery. So I think now as a culture, you know, with Black Panther and with other films, we're starting to seek out our lineage going back to Africa and stuff like that.
Well, look, if there's any young, young African people, who just moved to America listening or watching this conversation, I could tell you, look, I was born with I have an Arabic name. My real name is Ibrahim. And, growing up, I'd be embarrassed that my name was Ibrahim or that my mom's white. And I'm sure Benny, everybody got stories in America that when you have a background or a culture or something about you that doesn't neatly fit into the American box,
100%.
Everybody gets made fun of.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so don't, and I know that's the thing. Look, I got a lot of Haitian family. Haitians had it bad. I got, brothers and sisters that, are Mexican, you know what I mean, that are friends of mine. Mexicans used to catch it bad, still do. People making cracks about just different immigrant groups. It's always been a thing. Or even like if you got a family member that's a drug addict, people gonna call your family a crackhead. You know what I'm saying? Like, so don't let that, America's just like that. And I think that's part of the culture too, is people talk shit to each other. And I think that's very different than a lot of other, cultures around the world. Mm-hmm. So, I don't let it deter you from, getting to know one another beyond the bullshit, I guess is my point. Because you hear that a lot. Benny, I don't know if you have any stories. I know you. Where you from, Benny, originally?
Philly.
You from Philly?
Yeah. So we say?
I'm sure you got some stories.
Yeah, my stories mostly when I left, I got sent to live with my father for a couple of years in Houston, Texas. And when I got there, I had never been called a nigga in my life because I'm a little, we were around the same age, whatever,
yeah.
But we weren't using that word to each other like that in the early 80s or what have you. So when I got there, I played football. Football was my life at that time. So I was on the team and, the white guys would just sort of throw that word around. And I looked around and I could see that the brothers that were from there didn't really react the same way. So I got in a lot of issues. Yeah. and because of that, and funny enough, I clicked up with all the people I was friends with had recently moved either from Chicago or New York, and we all sort of creative, got together collectively because we had the same mindset, and that was kind of my story. But growing up in Philly, everybody, at that time, really everybody's from Virginia or North Carolina, South Carolina. So we, there was some uniformity to us as African Americans in that city. Unlike New York at the time, where you had the Caribbean influence, we really didn't have that in the 70s and 80s.
The film Tazmanian Devil, why is that the name?
Tazmanian Devil is kind of like the mascot per se. Like if you look at MPHC Greeks now, you have Alpha Phi Alpha, and we're the Sphinxmen, or we have Omega Psi Phi, and the dogs and stuff like that. So Tazmanian Devil is just kind of their image that they put forward. Like when you become a Tasman, you want to be a Tasmanian Devil. It's just something to kind of bridge the culture when it comes to like frat life.
Now I never joined a frat. Benny, you're an alpha?
Yeah, I'm an alpha, and Solomon's an alpha as well.
Oh, okay, so is that what this is? Is this fraternal? Is this nepotism? Is this fraternal nepotism taking place? That's how Solomon got the look.
No, it's crazy. I enjoyed the script so much. If he was a Kappa or a Sigma, I would have still got behind it. It's just it just feels better that he is a bro, that he is the alpha. You know what I mean?
You might have hazed him a little bit more. If he was, you know what I'm saying?
Right. But you know, it's funny because I feel like, you know, the fraternities we have, as a collective, we lost our way a little bit. You know, we had, like, there's a photo floating around right before Dr. King got assassinated, right in Memphis. And I want to say it's the day before. And on that balcony, you have a representation of every organization. You have King, you have Abernathy, you have Jesse, and there's one other person on there. And there's a, you know, Alpha, Kappa, Omega, and a Sigma all together moving in the civil rights movement. And I feel like we, as a collective of the Divine Nine, we sort of gotten away from that, and we're reminded now because, you know, Kamala Harris is an AKA, and she's the vice president, and we had this uproar over the summer, and we saw, you know, the Greek letter organizations out there in the forefront, and you know, it sort of woke everybody up to what we really are supposed to be about, you know, as these fraternities and sororities. We're supposed to be making change. We're supposed to be the change agents for culture, for the Black culture, for rights and civil rights and all those things, you know. So I think that this film gives you a peek into the college life of it all, but it also reminds us that there is a responsibility that we have as members of these Greek letter organizations.
Benny, moving forward, if there's young filmmakers out there, while we have you, Solomon was able to get on your radar with his film. You got Birdman involved, and you and Birdman been working on some things. You see 50 Cent working on things. There's a lot of, and then there's so many, you know, Nas and Mass Appeal doing things, and, you know, and there's so many outlets from Showtime and HBO Max and Netflix to Apple TV Plus, and you know, I'm Hulu. I'm sure I'm missing some that I should be shouting. What is the best way for a young filmmaker to get on the radar, to be able to get, you know, and level up in their, you know, feature film journey?
And I'm also curious to know how Solomon got on your radar. Like, how exactly did that happen?
Okay, so to answer that question, Trisha Woodgett, who is his producer, who's one of the producers on the film, they got the script to my company, to my producing partner. And he said, "Hey man, you gotta read this script. It's about pledging." That was how he introduced it to me. So when I read it, I said, "Man, this is not about pledging. This is about, you know, a father-son, a tarnished father-son relationship." And I said, "That's a great story to tell." So Solomon had already, you know, the dope thing about Solomon is that he was gonna make this film whether I was part of it or not. You know, that's the reality. So I did not want to miss the train of being involved in this young man's career at the beginning, because I already seen what the promise was just from the words on the page, you know. So I said, if there's anything I can do to help move this forward, I will. So he had gotten the finances to start. I talked to him. I didn't want to like involve myself creatively with what he was doing at the beginning, because I didn't want to taint the process, because I've been on the other side of that, where people come in and taint the process, your creative process. So I wanted to give him that freedom and just be there. And then we got to a point where we needed more financing, and that's when I stepped in and Birdman stepped in, and we were able to put that together. As far as up-and-coming filmmakers, I mean, look, everything is at hand, right? Like, you can go buy a camera and shoot. I couldn't do that when I was trying to come up, but now you can just go and buy a camera, just go out and shoot your scenes, get your friends, write it and shoot it, put it on YouTube and have people see it. There's no excuse for a young filmmaker with an idea to not make his movie or make his short or make his TV show. Nothing should stand in the way at this point. And then at that point, you campaign behind it, whether it's Instagram or YouTube or Twitter or Facebook, and get people to see it. And then, you could be Issa Rae, who had a show on YouTube, and now she had a television show, Insecure, and has a career and all that stuff. So there's no excuse. Any young filmmaker, you just shoot, just write.
Solomon and Benny, it's a question for you. So I seen an ad where people were shooting on these new 12s, and I guess the new 12s have like a camera in it or something that's like on the level. Is that real?
I'm not an iPhone user. I'm Android, so.
But Samsung is on the set. Is the Samsung on the level? Like you could shoot on a Samsung for real?
Yeah, people shoot on cell phones all the time. The quality is good enough to where it's passable. You don't have the same depth of field. But you can do several different things on an iPhone, and it's passable.
Wow.
Dorian, you know Dorian Missick, who's an actor. He's the husband of Simone Missick.
Yeah.
So he has a film that he shot. He's in the film. He shot and directed, wrote it all on an iPhone. This was a couple of years ago, and it's dope.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's dope.
So it's just like the music game where cats is making songs on their phones. Same shit is happening with the movies.
Yeah, same thing is happening. And it's great for people to see it, because I think now, because there's so many different formats, it's not just film, it's digital film and all these things. People will overlook some of the lighting problems or issues like that if the story is good enough.
Right. And if it, I guess, depending on the platform that's pushing the film out, like if it's meant to be indie and it's meant to feel, kind of guerrilla, grimy, kind of gritty versus something that's like supposed to be glossy and shine. You know what I mean? I guess same thing in music too.
Same thing.
You know what I mean?
Right. Imagine like Wu-Tang's first album being super polished, like it don't
have the same. It don't have the same pizzazz.
No, not at all.
Nah.
Mm-hmm.
Is the film available on? Where is the film available on? Where can we watch it?
February 9th.
Okay.
It's available on all streaming platforms. Yes, it will be available then. So this is our lead up to it. And it's Black History Month. I think it's the perfect time for us to have this film out, even though, we get relegated to the shortest month of the year. That's a conversation that we have every year about this month. It's never going to change. But look, we have an opportunity to really celebrate and that sort of thing. So, and the other thing I want to say too, I just touched on it a minute before briefly, I think it's important that Solomon in his first feature film be supported, because like I said, I've been on the other side where you don't get the support that you need from producers and stuff. And so I wanted to make sure that he doesn't have like a terrible experience, and that he has the creative control. There's scenes in the film that, we went back and forth on, and I had an idea and I thought it should be this, and he had a different idea, and we tried it out, and we either stay with his idea or my idea. But if I felt like, never did I feel like, nah, man, you got to do it the way I'm telling you to do it, because he has to live with the film that he wrote and directed,
right.
And that's the thing. And I just want to help, arm him with that, and also the responsibility of filmmaking. It's a big responsibility because movies live with you forever. I remember the first time I saw Jaws and Warriors, and Star Wars and all stuff. So, that experience lives with you forever. So it's important to make it right.
Well, another thing that's really powerful is you have, somebody like yourself, Benny Boom, who's been in the game for a while, reaching back, helping a young black man find, his true passion and his love and build his business and his brand. And you also have a film, this Tazmanian Devil, which is about the relationship between a black father and his son. But then you also have the relationship between black Americans and, and Africans from Africa, you know what I mean? And that whole relationship. So there's a lot of important storylines, either behind the scenes of this film, or what we're going to see in the actual production of Tazmanian Devil, which is out February 9th for everybody to go stream it. Solomon, man, hopefully I get to see you again and talk to you again on your next project. Congratulations on this one too, sir.
Yeah, man.
And Benny Boom, it's love, brother. Good seeing you, sir.
Sir, man. Definitely, man.
Yeah, man.
And congratulations on a baby.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Mama Styles.
Yes, I'm listening. Ebro knows because I listen in the morning, and when I hear stuff, I text him like, yo.
That's so dope. Thank you.
I'm on the show. I'm like, it'll be like 7:30 in the morning. I'm like, I don't know when y'all recorded this, but such and such.
Nah, we live, baby. We live, bro.
You'll hit me back and go, nah, B, because this. I'm like, all right.
Oh yeah, no, we be having political debates for sure.
all the time. Yeah, I love it, man. It's great to be able to have, to be in this position, to have like the access to you in the culture and be able to discuss things like, in real time as I hear them, hear you guys.
Yo, I told you, and I told you these white supremacists was ill, B. I told you, yo, I've been telling you for a minute that this shit was going to get crazy.
You really have. And I was like, nah. And you're like, nah, B, I'm telling you, it's some other.
It's the other shit out here. And now look, they done ran up in the Capitol.
Right.
And fast forward. And now they want to go, yo, let's just unify. Let's just move on and act like nothing happened. Nope. Wrong.
Fam.
They need to go to jail.
I want to see all of it, man. I want to see all of it. Don't be popping that we need to unify bullshit, man. Y'all was all cool, shoulder to shoulder with Confederate flags. You know what I'm saying? Nazis, nooses. Y'all was wilding.
Looking to hurt people.
Y'all was wilding.
Physically harm people.
And kill people if they could have got
yes.
their hands.
Facts.
They did kill people.
Yes.
They did kill people. But,
that's right. Facts.
Congress, if they could have got their hands on them, they would definitely have killed them.
Facts.
So they need to go to jail for that.
Yo, that's your next film, Benny. You need to do one about the black Capitol police officers that been complaining about racism up there for years. There's a whole story about how they've been complaining about white supremacists working in the Capitol Police for years, and their complaints were ignored. Then, there's a whole thing, bro. It's a whole thing, man, and you got to read on it, man. That's a whole story because remember, that's D.C. That's Chocolate City. That's a black mayor. You know what I'm saying?
There's people that live in D.C. that never, ever go to Pennsylvania Avenue. There's that story about when George Bush, the first George Bush, brought the crack to the White House when he had this thing, and they supposedly bought it right outside the White House. Well, that guy was set up, and he had never ever been he didn't even know where the White House was.
Laura, you heard that story before?
Yeah. I absolutely heard that story before.
That's Chocolate City, always been Chocolate City. So that's crazy, and big up to that officer. I think his name is Eugene Robinson. I think that's right. Name.
Yeah,
because the optics of that at first when I saw it, I was like, bro, you running away? Like, this is your opportunity for some get back. But it's crazy that he had to move away from it as opposed to, because he could have shot and killed 5 or 6 of them guys.
Well, because they had a directive. That's a whole memo that came out that they had a directive to not harm. They weren't given the support. All of that directive was given, which tells you it was an inside job. Why are you guys preemptively saying that you shouldn't be doing this and doing that? Right, somebody knew something was about to happen, and then they removed the panic buttons from inside the people's offices.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's
deep. It's all gonna come out, man, and we will get to the bottom. They're gonna get to the bottom of it for sure. Well, if anybody gets convicted, that's yet to be seen.
We'll see. Solomon, good talking to you, bro. Benny,
congrats,
good talking
Solomon.
to you too. Everybody go check that Tasmanian Devil. Streaming services February 9th. Talk to y'all soon, man.
Real quick.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Solomon was the winner of the very first John Singleton Filmmakers Award at the ABFF.
Wow.
So this film he's already been, gotten awards for this from, the award named in honor of the late, great John Singleton, and he has won this award. So, I just want to big him up, for that, for sure.
Solomon, you big time.
That's dope, Solomon.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You know what I mean? We're gonna be talking to you again.
Yeah, you will.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, this is just the beginning for Solomon.
Yeah.
All right, talk soon, man. Y'all take care.
Thank you, guys. All right.